In a world marked by poverty and injustice, one man walked into the darkest places not as a conqueror, but as a servant. His name was Toyohiko Kagawa, and he lived from 1888 to 1960. Known widely as the Gandhi of Japan, Toyohiko was a visionary who combined faith, love, and social action to transform lives. He was a Japanese evangelical Christian pacifist, social reformer, and evangelist who dedicated his life to serving the poor and promoting social justice. Kagawa spoke, wrote, and worked at length on ways to employ Christian principles in the ordering of society and in cooperatives. His remarkable journey of faith, service, and advocacy continues to inspire people around the world. Toyohiko Kagawa was born on July 10, 1888 in Kobe, Japan, into a family of privilege. His father, a privy councillor, died when Kagawa was just 4 years old, and his mother followed shortly after. He was raised by a rich uncle but endured a lonely and difficult childhood. Despite his isolation, he displayed great intellectual promise. While attending a Christian school in Tokyo, Kagawa was deeply influenced by missionaries, particularly Charles Logan and Harry Myers, his teachers who introduced him to the Bible. His heart was especially moved by passages about love, humility, and serving others, particularly the Sermon on the Mount and 1 Corinthians 13. At the age of 15, after taking a Bible class, he embraced evangelical Protestant Christianity, despite severe backlash and rejection from his family. Kagawa attended Meiji Gakuin University in Tokyo and later studied theology at Kobe Theological Seminary. During this time, he was deeply impacted by Christian literature, including the writings of Francis of Assisi and Leo Tolstoy. While at the seminary, Kagawa grew frustrated with the seminarians' preoccupation with doctrinal technicalities. He firmly believed that the essence of Christian doctrines lay in practical Christianity. He often referenced the parable of the Good Samaritan to emphasize his point. He believed that faith without action was hollow, a conviction that guided his lifelong mission. In 1909, Kagawa moved into the slums of Shinkawa, Kobe, living in extreme poverty among the outcasts and destitute. He gave away his possessions and immersed himself in the suffering of others to live out his faith as a missionary, social worker, and sociologist. Kagawa's personal suffering included contracting trachoma, tuberculosis, and other diseases due to the poor living conditions he faced. Kagawa's work in the slums laid the foundation for his reputation as a tireless advocate for the poor. His efforts included establishing cooperative unions and credit unions to help the poor escape the grip of exploitative lenders, founding schools and hospitals for underprivileged children and adults, and leading urban renewal projects that transformed neglected neighborhoods into thriving communities. In 1914, he traveled to the United States to explore methods for addressing the root causes of poverty. Drawing on his experiences, he published the book Researches in the Psychology of the Poor in 1916. This work documented various facets of slum life that were largely unfamiliar to middle-class Japanese society. These included illicit prostitution outside Japan's legal framework, informal marriages that often intersected with such activities, and the harrowing practice of accepting payment to care for children, only to subsequently harm or kill them. Kagawa was also a prolific writer, using his pen to challenge social injustices. His autobiographical novel Before the Dawn, published in 1924, became a bestseller and is considered one of Japan's first works of social realism. By 1933, he had authored some 40 best-selling novels and devotional works. Kagawa was passionate about labor rights and rural reform. He promoted the cooperative movement, believing that Christians should influence economics and politics to reflect the kingdom of God. In 1921, he founded the Japan Farmers Union to improve the lives of rural workers. He also worked with the Japanese Labor Federation, championing workers' rights, peace, and social equity. Additionally, Kagawa founded the Kingdom of God movement, which was set up to Christianize 1 million Japanese by 1933 and bring Japan's Christian churches together in a powerful campaign for social justice. In spite of his good intentions, Kagawa was arrested in Japan in 1921 and 1922 for his involvement in labor activism during strikes. While imprisoned, he authored the novels Crossing the Death Line and Shooting at the Sun. The first was a semi-autobiographical account of his experiences among Kobe's impoverished population. Following his release, Kagawa played a key role in organizing relief efforts in Tokyo following the 1923 Great Kanto earthquake and contributed to the achievement of universal male suffrage in 1925. Throughout this period, Kagawa continued to evangelize to Japan's poor, advocate women's suffrage, and call for a peaceful foreign policy. Between 1926 and 1934, he focused his evangelical work through the Kingdom of God movement. Predictably, Kagawa's influence extended beyond Japan. In the 1930s, he traveled extensively, speaking on issues of peace and social reform. His vision of Christianity as a force for justice attracted international attention, making him a symbol of Christian humanitarianism. However, his pacifism brought him into conflict with Japan's militaristic government during World War II. As a result, he was arrested multiple times for his outspoken opposition to war and violence. By 1933, Toyohiko Kagawa was earning about $10,000 a year, a very princely sum in those days, of which he spent $40 a month for himself and gave the rest to his work. With his earnings, he ran 3 social settlements, aided a leper colony, maintained a research bureau, headed a great organization of consumers, producers, and credit cooperatives. Kagawa, alongside Albert Einstein, served as a sponsor of the People's World Convention, also known as the People's World Constituent Assembly, held in 1950–51 in Geneva, Switzerland. He was also among the signatories of the agreement to convene a convention for drafting a world constitution. This initiative led to the first-ever World Constituent Assembly in human history, which was convened to draft and adopt the Constitution for the Federation of Earth. In his book Brotherhood Economics, Kagawa proposed an economic theory advocating for a unified effort between the Christian Church, the cooperative movement, and the peace movement. He envisioned this powerful working synthesis as a practical alternative to capitalism, state socialism, and fascism. Throughout his lifetime, Kagawa authored over 150 books. He was nominated for the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1947 and 1948, and for the Nobel Peace Prize in 1954 and 1955. However, Kagawa faced considerable oppositions during his time. He was once quoted to have said,
"It seemed that everyone was attacking me. The Soviet communists, the anarchists, the capitalists, the foul-mouthed literary critics, the sensationalist newspapermen, the Buddhist who could not compete with Christ, and those many Christians who profess Christ but believe in a Christianity which is sterile."
In March 1955, while in Osaka, Kagawa collapsed due to his worsening heart condition and was bedridden for 2 weeks. Despite concerns from his family and associates, he continued writing, preaching, managing projects, and hosting visitors. Over the years, his health steadily declined, leading to a 3-month hospitalization in 1959 at St. Luke's Hospital in Takamatsu. He spent much of his time bedridden at home in Matsuzawa. Although his condition briefly improved in mid-April of that year, it quickly deteriorated again. On April 23rd, Kagawa fell unconscious for 3 hours but regained consciousness long enough to smile at his wife and those around him. His final words were,
"Please, do your best for world peace in the church in Japan."
Kagawa's life is a testament to how one person's unwavering faith and determination can shine a light in the darkest places. His life story reminds Christians of the power of love, humility, and action-driven faith. Thank you for watching. For more amazing stories of men and women of faith, please like this video, share and subscribe to Faith Reflections 247. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos. See you soon. Stay blessed.